Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, Breaker of the Seven Seals. Welcome, sisters and brothers. We're in troubling times, guaranteed to get worse, much fast. Very fast. Very fast. In fact, anybody's been paying attention, see things are accelerating. We talk about nuclear war. Any of you that's been around as long as I have know that they've never talked about nuclear war. They had a brief little talk about it in the 60s, so-called Cuban crisis, but nothing like this. And then, of course, a lot of you have your head stuck up NBA, NFL ass, so you wouldn't know what's going on anyway until they fry you behind when they drop those nukes on you. Fortunately for you, that's not going to happen, right? But, my brothers and sisters, let me check something for a second here. I still got some technical difficulties, so bear with me. Still working them out. Still working them out. Got one other small change I want to make here. Let's see here. Let's see, small change here. Process something right. I'm not going anywhere. I just got to make a small change here. Just got to make a small little change here. Okay, I should do it. I should do it, hopefully. Let's see. I accomplished my mission here. Okay, that looks a little better. It's a little better. Oh well. Not quite. Hold on. Okay. Okay. That's a bit better. Check over here. See. Okay, two. Okay. That's a little better. Okay. We'll go with that. So my topic today is dogs, devils, demons, and dogs. Devils, demons, and dogs. I don't like either one of them. I got a couple of video clips I want to show to show you how desperate these people are. And they're so open liars. It says we're suffering with demon plague. And this may be much worse than you think, brothers and sisters. I'm going to change here. It may be much worse than you think. That's a little better. So first I'm going to talk about a couple of things, brothers and sisters. Because see, the thing is, what's haunting them is the Holocaust. Because we're supposed to forget about that. See, first of all, we're supposed to never came out of that. We're supposed to stay, they converted us to animals, and we're supposed to be animals forever. We're not supposed to come out of that. But see, we're the gods. And we came out of it. And then damn thing they could do to stop it. They tried. They weren't sure what they was dealing with. They didn't free us. They didn't do a damn thing for us of positive. Nothing. Zero. Ever. Since their creation. Nothing. When you start understanding your creation, understanding your nature, You started growing again. Like we suffered. We suffered mildly for 50,000 years. Increasingly suffering up to 500 years ago. And it got very intense. See? We're the gods. You never heard of energy deprivation before I explained it to you. See? That's part of creation. If we weren't gods, we wouldn't have suffered that. We suffered more than anyone else to maintain our godhood. That's another topic I'll talk about another time. Because some people gave up their godhood in order not to suffer energy deprivation. We see that in the Levites, also in Hindi. We got a whole tribe that left the planet. They can never return. See, Master Muhammad was not playing games. He said, there's a whole people on Mars. They left the planet to avoid energy deprivation. They can never return. Because their DNA and everything is too weak now. They can never return. See? They can never return. Not even for a visit. But they escaped energy deprivation. They may live 1,200 years on Mars. They can live 12 hours here on the planet, Earth. You got the so-called Native Americans. They came over here. And they escaped 14,500 years. And then Yakub's creation got a hold of them, and where they are now, they're almost virtually extinct. So everybody has some kind of means. Look at the Arabs. They used to be as darker than me. They know Prophet Muhammad was dark. That's why they don't show any pictures of him. You mean to tell me that there was no artist or no one around to give a description of what it looked like? I mean, you have to give a picture of him. Just say, hey, the man was this complexion or something. Why? Because they snuffed it out. If anyone did, they would snuff it out because they didn't want you to know that. What was one would say? Hey, he was dark-skinned, or he was tall or short. Why would they say that? That's not taking a picture. There's nothing unholy about that. Because they don't want you to know. Because they sold out. They figure, hey, they mix in, right? They didn't want to go all the way. Just get, See, remember they're the original germ. They're the black germ and the brown germ. And if Elijah Muhammad explained that away, we knew something was wrong with what Master Muhammad was saying. See, that's why when you study, you see, and Master Muhammad was talking about, because he just said, oh, we're just going to have one seed, and they graft the seed. Well, white folks still be original. They'd be weak original, but they still be original. But he said, no, they took it from the brown seed here with two germs. They took it from the brown germ. Because everything comes in pairs, the Quran tells you that. And he took it from the brown. So that means, right, he's related to us, but he ain't our brother. He's not original. You understand what I'm saying? So they try to do basically what Prophet Muhammad, what Master Muhammad's father did, right? They stayed original, but bleached themselves white to avoid some energy deprivation. It worked to some extent. They was able to rise up for 1,000 years. But we went all, we kept it all. That's why Dr. Shabazz said, no, keep it all. Take the full hit. Take the full hit. That means you remain on top. You get the best reward and you reign forever. You have a kingdom that will last forever. Just take the full hit. It's 500 years. What's 500 years against trillions of years? Nothing. So we took the full hit. Everybody had all kinds of, right? You take the Hindi trap, man. Now, they took and weakened their mind. We went from the mathematical standard, right, to the belief standard. Don't require any energy there. You have to think about anything, no positive logic. Just believe in something. See, all those things matter. In fact, thoughts matter. Thoughts are the most powerful resource of energy. That's the depository of it. And so if you weaken your mind, You have a lot of energy for a lot of other things because our mind takes a lot of energy. And so by them going from the mathematical standard to the least standard, right, that spared them a lot of impact from the energy deprivation period. But look where they are right now. See? How much energy is it going to take to restore their minds back? So we didn't give up anything. It was taken from us. And that's what the Holocaust is all about, because they got to pay what they took from us. We didn't give it up. They took it. So now they're paying. That's Holocaust. That's the bottom line of Holocaust. They took what they weren't supposed to take. Don't touch that tree. The day you do it, the day you will die. They can about to touch it. We ain't talking about the Holocaust thing. When they talking about, well, it's two ways actually. When you read the sealed Bible, the day you do it is it could be 500 years, and also could be 1 year. It's both ways. You can read it both ways, because every day and a night, when you start from the beginning, each one is 500 years. So a whole day represents 500 years. So you got 5 days and 6 days in there, right? Each one represents 1,000 years, a day and a night. That's no story. I'm not going to that, brothers and sisters. But they took everything from us, and I talked about that earlier today. How everything they took, so take it back now. They're trying to hold on to it. See, sometimes holding on to something can be worse than letting it go. You hold on to something that's pulled strong enough. You hold strong enough, pull your arms out. Let it go. Yeah, your arms, but you lost what you know. But if you love it that much, you hold on to it, right? You pull your arms out of socket. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a couple of things, brothers and sisters, right? But this was, and you're going to see what I'm talking about, what's going on with these people, because that's why our name is devils, demons, and dogs. So let's move on, brothers and sisters. I'm going, so this is my second one that I'm trying to catch up, because I've been spending a lot of time trying to get my sisters back up. And so, and I got a lot of things to say. And they're doing everything they can to keep me from saying them. I spend most of the time, much time trying to keep the system going, trying to learn about the engine, because this is some hard stuff. This technical stuff that they keep throwing at me. I don't have nobody else with me. I got to figure it out myself. What's going on here? Okay. Devils, demons, and dogs. Okay, what I want to say here, brothers, is that I want you to understand what's going on here. You see this gear train here? This is a gear train. And you see a smaller one, this moves faster than the bigger one. Do you understand that right? No, the big one moves faster than the smaller one. Because it's got to keep up that, it's got to go around faster, because every time the smaller one make a revolution, right? Let me look at this. Let me think about this again. Okay. I look at it a different way. Well, actually, the point is, when it's going around, right? The smaller one makes a revolution, right? More revolution than the large one does. Because the small one makes a revolution. Now, the large has made a complete revolution yet. See what I'm saying? So the small one's moving around. When it completes the another one maybe we're a quarter away so far. So the bottom one, the small one, I haven't counted to figure out geometrically, but the small one probably about 4 revolutions to the large one, right? 1 revolution. Maybe like a 4-to-1 ratio, something like that, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is that smaller one, right, is driving the affair, right? But they might have to go around 4 times before you get that big one to go around 1 time. And the bigger the other one gets, the more pronounced that becomes. So it may be 4-to-1 now, but if that one's bigger, it might be 10-to-1 or 100 to 1, depends on how big it is, right? So you got to turn, but the other one takes longer. And that's the same thing on our people, brothers and sisters. But if you don't turn, you don't make the other one turn. And people think when you go out and start talking to people, right? See, because we're trying to turn the whole nation. And so you out there talking, teaching these people, they're moving, but they don't come around to a believer or come around to understand the angel just because you think they should do it that time. Just because you think it should be done at that particular time. You understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? So our people are moving, and what you're going to see in a few more days is 144,000. They finally made a complete cycle. That means they came all the way around. Because they're moving out, they're stirring. And you're going to see a little bit in this presentation I'm going to show you. They're stirring, they're getting it. But it takes to get the understanding, to move, to act on it. See? 30 years I've been telling them, talk to them. 30 years I've been moving them. Okay? And now it says suddenly they finally make a complete turn. That's when they stand up. But if you don't turn, nothing's going to happen. So you got to keep on going. That one has to say, it makes a complete turn. The other one make complete. Man, I already made a complete turn already. That one still ain't got there yet. I made 2, it still ain't got. I made 3, it still ain't got. What's going on with this? But if you stop, it never get there. So you got to make 4 turns, and then it's right there. If that's a 4 to 1. The Suma has to raise the whole ladder, the whole nation. And so 1 year, nothing. 2 years, nothing. Something happening, but they haven't made a full turn yet. So 30 years, 32 years, 34 years, right? 33 years, 32 years. Bam, finally. Made 32 to 1, right? Boom, suddenly, full turn. But they was turning, they just hadn't got there yet. They're pretty close. They're almost there. See? It says when they make that full turn, when that war breaks out, at that time, make a full turn. And the actual fact is, I don't like it. I don't want to say too much stuff about this, right? But we wait for Master Muhammad. Master Muhammad is waiting for this full turn. He's not going to move until 144,000, right, are ready to crop. Because remember, the harvest, the crop has to. Remember, he says that when they took it, sow the wheat amongst the chaff amongst the wheat. He says just wait to harvest time. Right? Remember in chapter the 5th of the angel, right? The 5th seal. It says wait to a particular time, because he knows when the harvest is ripe. You don't want to do it before that, because you want it to be ripe. You want to be fully nurtured. And so, in many ways, it's dependent upon me, because I have to make that happen. And if I don't do it, if I stop, it's not going to happen. That's why I keep on going, keep putting that energy. And I keep talking about quality of energy. This is a quality of energy. You teach, but the point is, you're saying you're giving the type of energy they need, right? You can't go in and just pick them up and lift them up, right? They're mine, because that's what we're trying to get, right? I'm working in mind. I'm trying to get my. Remember, Muhammad said, he said they will not return to get full knowledge of self. But remember, he's the one that's going to return them. So he's not going to move until they're thorough knowledge of self. It's right in there. See, the same things he says, bro, since most of you don't pay attention, you don't connect the dots. A lot of things I don't have to even say. If you just think about what's been said, a lot of things will come to you, but I can't say a lot of things openly. My probably should be saying that, actually. Because then somebody might say, oh, okay, well, if we make a move before. See, I got to be very careful here. But if he says they're not returned to have thorough knowledge of self, then who's responsible for giving thorough knowledge of self, right? How long is it going to take to happen? Then if he says that, he's not going to move until they have it. And they don't have it yet, so that's why he hasn't moved yet. But that means they're about to have it. That's why he's about to move. Because the time is perfect. The scientists timed this perfectly. I found in my journey with the angel, time has been impeccable, perfect. So I wanted to point out, brothers and sisters, So you understand what you're doing. See? Because somebody say, oh man, right? I've been preaching and everybody moving. They're moving. Right? It's just, right? It takes longer for them to come around. Right? If they was weaker, they come around faster. But because they're great, a greater will, it takes long for it to come around. But when it comes around, full circle, look how powerful it is. See? So you got Suleiman, he's driving this thing. You have full, complete circle. So think about that for a minute, brothers and sisters. And then we'll get to the main topic here. Well, no, let me move on. I get that started because actually, yeah, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, brothers and sisters. Getting ahead of myself here. Columbus Day. They're celebrating Columbus Day. What did Columbus mean to us? That's what Columbus meant to us. Slave ships. See how you got your boxing like sardines there? How you go to bed? You didn't go to the bathroom. You went to the bathroom right where you sit. Right? And so who's under you? So when you go to the bathroom, you're doing it on the person under you. And you're in there for, I think it was a 30, 60-day journey one time. And they force you to eat. They actually force your mouth, pry your mouth open, pry it open. This is these great Jesus-loving people, right? Pry your mouth and force ghoulish down. The stuff they fed you was, they wouldn't feed to a pig. See? They ran out of food. They would get one of you, chop you up, and feed you to the rest of them. Make soup out of you. That's what they would do. Because you don't get to the market, they're gonna make some money. So if they ran out of food, General was extra long right there, they got one of you, chop you up, make soup out of you, and that's what they feed to everybody, rest of you. Rest of us. Columbus Day. They still celebrate it. Yet they say they're good people. They're God-fearing people. So why are you honoring this event? See? Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Now I want you to listen to this lion dog. Listen to this lion dog here. I don't know if you can hear him. I don't know if you can hear him. I didn't think about that one. I'm not sure if you can hear him. Oh, I think it's finished. I'll find out in a minute. Well, did you play? Oh, maybe that's why.
And welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Happy Columbus Day. Remember Columbus Day? That's the day that we celebrate the discovery of the New World by Christopher Columbus and all that happened after, which was the creation of the freest and most humane society in the history of man. We're still celebrating it. But we're also assessing what happened to that society because it is changing. So we want to tell you the story of a man called Paul Vaughan, leading off to
Now you hear that? You hear that bullshit? This get worse. It gets worse. Hope you can hear it, otherwise I'm going to have to do this again. It gets worse, brothers and sisters. What happened to 400 years plus of genocide, murder, rape, terror, enslavement. She's saying, oh, he glossed over there like that never happened. America was based on Christian principles, based on freedom. You know, what happened to all this in the middle? Freest nation, or human rights, like, what happened to all this in the middle? That's what it's based on, but it gets worse, brothers and sisters. So I'm up next here, then this is going to take a while, this one. So I'm not sure if you're going to hear it or not. I'm sure you hear it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and play it anyway. If not, I'll just have to do a redux on this. Hold on, brothers and sisters. Let me get myself out of the picture here. It's going to take about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes presentation here. Maybe 10 minutes, and then I'm going to talk about it. It's about, it's about 5-10 minutes, I think. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, here we go.
And welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. In July of 1993, a radio station in Kigali, Rwanda, began openly attacking one of the country's main ethnic groups, the Tutsis. The radio station was called RTLM, but many remember it as simply Hutu Radio because its audience was primarily Hutu. According to Hutu Radio, Tutsi people were responsible for virtually every bad thing that ever happened in Rwanda. Tutsis had way too much money. They had way too much power. Tutsis were way too privileged. They were greedy. They were bigoted. They were racists. They were dangerous. Everything about Tutsiness was repulsive. For the most part, actual Tutsis in Rwanda ignored all of this. Hutu Radio was not aimed at them. But then, in July of 1994, just 9 months after RTLM went on the air, a genocide began in Rwanda. More than 500,000 Tutsis were murdered, in many cases by Hutus whose rage had been stoked to violence by RTLM's broadcasts. Entire Tutsi families were dragged from their homes and hacked to death with machetes. Hundreds of thousands of women were raped. The world watched in horror as it happened, but did nothing to intervene. Instead, our leaders told us at the time, the genocide in Rwanda would live forever as a lesson to the rest of us about the capacity for evil that lurks inside every human heart and the dangers of reducing our neighbors to the sum total of their ethnicity. They're individuals, not ethnic groups. Bill Clinton gave an eloquent speech actually on the subject in Kigali back in 1998. Look it up and ask yourself, as you read it, if any Democratic Party official could today say those same words. It's hard to imagine, given what plays on a loop on that party's cable news arm, MSNBC. Have you watched MSNBC lately? Likely you haven't. Like the Tutsis, you're not the target audience, but you should tune in sometime. It's remarkable. Given that opposing racism is America's national religion, it may surprise you to learn that open race hate forms much of the substance of that channel's programming. And when we say race hate, we're not referring to the subtle coded variety. You want border security? You giving your kids piano lessons? You like Shakespeare? You believe in the SAT? You must be a racist. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the kind of race hate you cannot mistake for anything else, the kind where people just come out and announce, I hate this race of people, and here's why I do. It's hard to believe that anything like that is happening right now on American television, but it is, out in the open. And the most amazing and the most creepy part of all is that no one is saying anything about it. It's all but ignored. And honestly, we had no idea it was going on either until we started getting texts from people. Are you watching this? Can you believe this? So we tuned in. Apparently on the left, what you're about to see is considered completely normal, even good. And that should worry you deeply. You don't want to live in Rwanda. But on MSNBC, they're already there. Now, you probably knew about Joy Reid, the race lady, who's been fixated on race hate for years now. But MSNBC has a new host, someone called Tiffany Cross, who hosts a show called The Cross Connection. Here's a selection.
Many of us have seen the dangers when powerful white people decide they want something, they annex it. And they've never had a problem replacing the people who stand in their way.
We see American white people are going crazy. They're resorting to violence.
This is literally what conservative white folks do when they don't get their way. They turn violent.
White people deputizing themselves in some position of authority to have jurisdiction over their life when they need to mind their blanking business.
I don't think it's our responsibility to be tasked with destroying and dismantling the racial oppression that's against us. That's just saying we're more at fault than the white people who constructed this system and the white people who continue to practice institutional racism.
A majority of white people do not support policies that would unpack and unroll and reform this system of justice. This is what they want. Matt Gaetz is giving the white folks what they want.
White replacement can strangle culture. So yes, we should all be concerned about white replacement. It is, after all, a very threat to our survival here.
Is there anything worse than white people? They're violent. They're heartless. They're cruel. They're deranged. They're secretive. They're dishonest. In fact, as you just heard Tiffany Cross say, white people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones. They threaten your life. Are they poisoning the wells? Are they baking bread with the blood of your children? If not, according to Tiffany Cross and MSNBC, they're fully capable of doing those things. They've certainly done worse. This is Hutu Radio. But it's not an independent radio station in an African country. It's part of one of the biggest news organizations in the world. Part of the biggest telecommunications company in the United States, Comcast, which owns it. So you have to ask yourself, what does Comcast board think of this? Comcast board is mostly white people who, according to the channel they own, decided they wanted something, then they annexed it. White people who steal because they're white. White people who could, quote, turn to violence when they don't get their way. White people are going crazy, endangering their communities. So you have to ask yourself, why are they putting this on the air? Why are they allowing this? This is not a policy debate. These are open attacks on people, on Americans, on the basis purely of their race. And that's just a selection. We could go on and on and on. Are they aware that this is happening? Perhaps they're not. We weren't, to be fair. But it is happening day after day after day after day. And at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, if it continues and nobody stops it, do they agree with it? Maybe they do. And just in case you think that we are taking Tiffany Cross out of context and pulling the worst quotes from a out-of-context segment to make her seem crazy and racist. Here's more. Here's Tiffany Cross at MSNBC.
Look, a lot of folks in that Capitol insurrection, some of these folks were white women. And I know we're talking a lot about Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, but I do think that some of the white women who have adopted this ideology, is America ready to face the fact that some of those folks look like people they have elevated and put on a pedestal of being untouchable? What do you say about this wing of white women who have been radicalized and are enablers to this very dangerous domestic terrorism movement that we've seen increase quite rapidly?
So it's not just whites, it's white women. Their women are bad too. And women, of course, are the key to reproducing the white race, which is clearly a threat, as she says again and again, to you and your family. They're dangerous. They want to hurt you. Now, don't be fooled by the fact that Tiffany Cross can barely speak a coherent sentence. She was a communications major, apparently, according to the internet. That didn't work. But the gist of it is very, very clear. White women are dangerous because white people are dangerous. They are, by the nature of their DNA, potential domestic terrorists. Now, you could play the game, well, if any other group were spoken about this way, this would be shut down immediately. And of course, that's completely true. There's no other group in America you could talk about the way that Tiffany Cross and Joy Reid and other anchors in MSNBC talk about white people. But you don't even have to play that game. It doesn't matter what the color is. It's always wrong to reduce people to the color of their skin, to their melanin content, to their DNA, and it's even worse to attack them on the basis of that. And in fact, it's the basis of violence, actual violence. Actual violence. But Tiffany Cross can't be criticized because she's oppressed. That's the key. Watch this.
What we didn't see were enough voices willing to point out the deeper, festering rot that's plagued this nation since it was born. People who neither discovered nor built this land have been led to believe that America is theirs and theirs alone. Will this democracy survive? Well, a Yahoo News poll says no. But perhaps when you build a nation on stolen land with stolen labor, it was never going to be a republic we could keep. And so here we are, celebrating the birth of a nation, independence for white men.
Okay, once again, calling out a specific race by name. Now you have to wonder about the other anchors on MSNBC, some of whom are that race. Do they notice this? Do they know what's happening on their channel? Are they okay with this? What do you think happens if we continue to talk this way? You may not watch that channel, but some people do. What does this look like in a year or 5 years or 10 years? What kind of country do you live in? Well, a country at war with itself, race war. This woman, Tiffany Cross, whose clips you've been watching, is so deranged by a racialist worldview that she believes all people of one color are oppressed by all people of another color. And to prove it, she says, even NFL players, some of the richest people in our society, some of the most celebrated, the most famous, the most privileged, even they can't escape the all-pervasive hatred of diabolical whites. Watch this.
I gotta say, Mike, the optics just look bad. To see all these black men crashing into each other with a bunch of white owners, white coaches, and the complete disregard of black bodies and black life. I mean, it just represents a larger issue.
So, I mean, look, the average salary for an NFL player is more than $2 million a year. 60% of NFL players are African Americans. In some positions like cornerback, virtually all the first-string players are black. So, okay, we don't have a problem with that. Most people don't have a problem with that. But if you look at that picture and say, this is white supremacy, what are you really saying? You're saying that anybody involved in the sport who is white defiles the sport because whiteness is itself inherently corrupting. White people are so evil that their mere presence in a sport that is overwhelmingly African American and from which African American individuals are benefiting is enough to destroy the whole operation because there are whites involved. What kind of talk is that? Well, it's genocidal talk, actually. Not an overstatement. That's exactly what it is. So again, you have to wonder, what does Comcast board think of this? It's not a rhetorical question, really, now that we're talking about sports, because Comcast also owns an NHL team, a hockey team, the Philadelphia Flyers. And maybe not surprisingly, the NHL just published its first ever diversity report. And according to that report, we have a huge problem with hockey. And the problem is there are too many white people in hockey. Now, why is that a problem? No one actually explains. It doesn't need to be explained because it's just prima facie obvious. We've got a lot of white people. That's inherently bad because white people are inherently bad. Again, do you want to live in a country where powerful people talk this way? What do you think it looks like in 5 years? The head of the NHL's, quote, social impact division said, quote, we have a lot of work to do. Again, how does Comcast board feel about this? Will the board undergo some kind of forced diversification? What about the NBA and the NFL? Admittedly, we're not following all of this, but as Joy Reid and Tiffany Cross tell us, that's probably because we're white and too stupid to understand.
I think for Kamala Harris, she's had like the triple problem of being a woman, and so people not being willing to respect her the way that they would respect a male vice president, of being black, which we already know that what that carries with it is the anti-blackness comes, you know, with the package, and then also being vice president at a time that is really, really difficult.
Joy and I talk about this all the time. Madam Vice President, and you know this, Charlamagne, she black, okay?
Yes.
She went to Howard, she AK, and when she talks to you, it is, I mean, she sounds
She's so
like
regular.
me. She's so regular
She
and
really
approachable,
is.
and it's unfortunate that more people don't see that.
it.
And there's also just the dumbing down of the American electorate.
We could go on and on. We could read excerpts from Tiffany Cross's book, which are brimming with racial hostility. We could play you a million clips from Joy Reid, which are exactly the same, filled with open racial hostility. But you get the point. And if you don't believe us, just go ahead and tune into MSNBC. But it's not really about that channel or those hosts. It's about a society that thinks that's okay. where it's not really about diversity, it's about hating other people on the basis of their race. And it's a little bewildering to the rest of us who thought the whole point of America was that we're aspiring to a country where we are judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. And all of a sudden, racial reductionists don't simply have the floor and the platform on cable news shows, but have apparently the unquestioning support of the biggest telecommunications company in the United States. What does that say about the country and its leadership? Jason Whitlock is the host of Fearless. He joins us to respond tonight. Jason Whitlock, thanks so much for coming on. This seems, and I'll just be honest, as noted, I didn't really know this was happening. I'm not all that interested in hearing people talk about race. I'm definitely not interested in watching that channel. But once you do watch it, you think, how can this be happening and nobody says anything?
Stone Cold Demon. We'll talk about him in a minute.
Tucker is pervasive across corporate media. It's pervasive in the sports world. It's one of the reasons why I left ESPN and Fox Sports, to be quite frank with you, and wanted to do my own independent thing because of the way that we talk about race in the corporate media. Is very unhealthy. It's very toxic. It's intended. People have been bought and paid for to undermine this country. Tiffany Cross, Joy Reid, any of the other people doing this type stuff, they know exactly what they're doing. They're doing exactly what they're told to do. They're planting the seeds to make people believe that the American experiment is a failure and the Constitution needs to be rewritten.
That's right.
And they're
using
race as their disguise. That's the entire agenda here. They're not hiding it. America is a failure in their mind because the outcomes don't meet their demographic criteria or quotas. And so all of this is to bait all of us into a race war and distract us from an attack on America, its Constitution, and primarily it's an attack on God. People get upset that, oh, like Christian nationalism. This country was founded on biblical principles. Period. End of story. This is a biblical experiment, the United States of America, and it has been a success. The atheists, the Marxists, the people hostile to God want to end this biblical experiment, and they're using race to tear it down. That's the nuclear weapon. Race, 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 race. We haven't treated race right. We got to write a new constitution. This whole thing's been a failure. It's a smokescreen. It's an attack on God. Those of us that are believers, regardless of our surface level differences of skin tone, if you're a believer, you got to wake up and look at what they're doing. They're attacking God. You think they're attacking you. They're not. They're attacking God, and they're attacking a country that was founded on biblical principles. Is this country perfect? No way. But it's better than anything else. It's the only biblical experiment that's ever been tried with a nation. The results are better than anybody else has ever gotten. What the steps we've taken in this country to correct our racial problems are steps other countries haven't come close to. This is satanic what they're doing, and they've been paid to do it.
I agree with that completely, and I also worry that once you unleash these forces, boy, you can't control them. This could go in very ugly directions, and I think it's reckless, really reckless. Jason Whitlock, I appreciate your coming on and for that very clear explanation of what's true. I want to bring you now an update that we think is important on a story we told you about last night. The CDC Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices was on the verge of adding the COVID vaccine to the childhood immunization schedule. That vote is scheduled for tomorrow. Now, as we said, if that vote passes,
what's going on here? Okay. Okay. Okay, brothers and sisters, I guess you heard that. I believe you heard it. Let me Let's turn this back on again. One second, brothers and sisters. That's what I mean by devils, demons, and dogs. He's obviously he's not even Negro, but the demon is a dog. Listen to him. Nothing he said was true. Nothing that Lion Tucker said was true. But they on TV said it. They said with firm resolution, like, that's a divine truth. And anybody got a half a brain, 1/3 of brain, 1/10 of the brain, know that was total bullshit from start to finish. And they bring those demons on like Candace, and they say stuff like that fool said. It's satanic. See, and this country is founded on biblical principles. Biblical principles. What Bible is that? Rape, murder, incest, genocide, right? Cannibals. Those are principles. What Bible is that? See, Christian, yeah, Christian. You're talking about Satan. That's total bullshit. Then you got that Lion Tucker. Oh man, he forgets all about. Oh, America's founded on human rights. Greatest country for human rights. How'd you get there? Everything you got, you stole. You killed. You cheated to get it. Everything. You came and took other people's land. You're not rich. You took these people's land. You stole it. And then you put people in jail for being and stealing. And you're the biggest thieves on the planet. These devils are the biggest thieves on the planet. They came out of Europe with nothing. Europe was a hellhole, was a shithole. Disease, famine, drought, tyranny, you name it. Oppression, the whole 9 yards. They had nothing. So they come out and took everybody else's stuff. Canada belonged to them. This whole continent over here didn't belong. They didn't even know it existed. They killed all the inhabitants. And they dragged us over here. That's their history. Why CRT? Because they're desperate to hide their history. Because they're sick. Because history tells who they are. They want their children to know. Why? That shows a conscience of guilt. Really, that's the only positive thing is about them. The fact they know there's something wrong with what they did. See, so that means, I guess, a couple of our genes rolls off on them. Because that means they have some sense of consciousness. Oh, they did. Because they do it to other people. They don't like it. So they might not got it from a mental point of view. They got it from a point of view that they don't like it done to them, so they must be wrong. Because I don't like when other people do it to me. Because they put people in jail for stealing and killing and murder. Stuff that they guilty of, the whole country is guilty of. And how you going to put somebody in jail for doing things exactly? That's how you got it. They went out to seek, steal, kill, and destroy. Exactly what they did. China wasn't invading anybody, taking anybody's land. Africa wasn't doing it. Asia wasn't doing it. You did it. Everything you got belongs to someone else. That's why now it's been taken from you. I mentioned it earlier in the other presentation. I'll say one more thing, and then I'm going to move on, and we're going to bring this to a close. You have to understand when it says every action has opposite equal reaction. Why they said that? Because you got two aspects of reaction. You got a qualitative and a quantitative. I keep emphasizing that, qualitative and a quantitative. What's the qualitative? Qualitative says, well, quantitative first. Quantitative says 5 plus 5 equals 2 plus 3. That's quantitative, equal. That's quantitative. 5 equals 1 plus 4. 5 equals 10 divided by 2. 5 equals 9 minus 4. Still, that's quantitative. But qualitative is 5 equals 5. 2 plus 3 equals 2 plus 3. 4 plus 4 equals 4 plus 4. That's qualitative. It means exactly. Everybody say opposite equal. Why? Because if you do something See, justice is quantitative. Like that's the kind of justice that we see them do anyway. Because okay, you kill somebody, right? They don't kill you. They put you in prison for 30, 40 years. So in other words, that's supposed to balance out. It's not the same, exact same what you did. It's just a punishment. That's quantitative. That's justice. See? But qualitative means eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. You reap what you sow. That means you get exactly back what you put in. Two types. That's why we have to say these things exactly right, brothers and sisters. So people understand what we talk about. See, every action has opposite but equal reaction. Opposite, equal. Every action has opposite but equal reaction. Equal, right? Qualitative. Quantitative. Equal. 5 equals 2 plus 3. That's quantitative. But 2 plus 3 equals 2 plus 3. That's qualitative. That's opposite. See? Same thing, but there's an opposite side of the equal sign. And so you see that, they'll say, you understand, because it says, we're going to repay them for what they did. That means it's going to be, what they did to us, going the same thing happen to them. It's not going to be like, oh, they're going to have a shitstorm, or it's going to be a meteor hit them, or they're going to have all this bad luck. No, it's going to be direct relative to what they did to us. So they took us to a Holocaust, they don't go to a Holocaust. Right now, you see evidence in that. It's already been happening to them. Look at this, they talk about this fentanyl thing. Where's fentanyl come from? Come from China. Well, why is China doing it? Well, go back and look at the Boxer Rebellion. That's what they called karate over in China. The Boxer Rebellion. What was that about? That was about stop American Britain from forcing drugs on China. Because they would go to the Middle East, get drugs, and force on China to get China's gold, and rub, and because they had no money. So they went and got drugs. They forced or they stole from the Middle East and took it to China and forced them to buy it under threat of war. And put their gold or whatever precious materials they had. And they had China drugged out. And that's when the Communist Revolution took place, in part, to free China of drugs. They don't tell you that part. If y'all remember Malcolm X, I ain't backing him at all because he screwed that's on him. Right? He should have knew better. But he was talking about that, right? He said that once the communists took over, they lined up all the drug dealers, drug pushers, riled them all up, bound them down, got their children, gave their children a gun, and they blew their own parents' head off. And that was, they don't have a drug problem in China anymore. So now they're getting back what they got, chicken home and loose. Now they're getting drugs from China. They're being drugged back. See, they won't tell you this kind of stuff. They've been drugged back for what they do it because they know all the stuff all around the world. Now it's coming back at them. Everything, like, the invasion of the goat in China and India, right? That's what repayment. They did pretty much the same thing to them. All the things that happen, all the things happening right now, and that they're going to go through the Holocaust, right? They're going to go through this famine. They're going to have nothing to eat. They're going to have to eat each other and shit and everything else that they did to us. See? Opposite. So now you pay. It's going to be eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Because we're not going to just let them have bad luck. We're going to control their destruction. See? And it's going to be, it's compressed into 1 year. But it says if you read my presentation earlier, it says they're gonna go insane from watching what happens to them. They said men are gonna go insane because you can't imagine it's gonna be more than they can bear. Already said hearts failing for fear of those things come upon the earth because the powers have been shaken. That's heart. That's the heart zone. Heart's gonna be being destroyed. You have a heart attack. Heart's failing. It means you have a heart attack. Your heart's being destroyed. But it says their mind gonna be destroyed. See, that's Master Muhammad destroying their hearts. Because he's the one who's gonna pull a plug and break their power in the heavens. But Suleiman is breaking their minds. That's what it said. If you read it, I should have put in this presentation. It says Their mind's going to go, they're going to go insane from seeing the things they're going to see when they're going through their 1 year Holocaust. That's all 500 years compressed into 1 year. So they're going to go insane. Is that what the crime means? Men walking around drunk, not having a drink? No, they're going to go insane. Because their mind can't comprehend what they, just from what they're seeing. They'll go insane. You know, zombie movies and stuff, if they have something, that's nothing compared to what they're going, eating flesh and everything. Because they're going to eat as much as of us they can. And they finish with us, they already ate their pets and everything else. No food here at all. No food at all. The scripture says, I showed you scriptures. Look at my earlier presentation this week. They said it would be no food, not a bird, not a fish, nothing. And then they'd be stripping us down and flaying us and cutting us up, and they're going to be selling us like food. That's not going to last very long. Because 30-some million of them, you know, about 34 million of us all together, including the demons. So how far? They chop us all up. How long was that food? There's no other food. How long was that? Especially eating 3 meals a day. Some of it more than that. How long was that food? How would that last? If they was get all of us, it wouldn't last long. Maybe a week, if that. Right? If you say 30 million of us and 300 million of them, that's 10 to 1, ain't it? 10 people eating 1 person. They ain't got no. They can't put in the refrigerator because they don't have no electricity stuff during that time. So that means if they got all of us, that's at best a couple of days supply. They got all of us. If it's 10 of them for each one of us, and they cut us up and everything else, right? 10 of them and one of us. How long would it take to ease all up? How long would it take to do it? A day, 2, 3 at the most? Give them a week. Then they eat all of us, and they ain't gonna get all of us. They don't get all of us. They don't get a few million anyway. So that tells you they're gonna last a day. Okay, as many black folks as they can, and they're gonna try to hoard them. If they catch one, they ain't gonna let anybody know they got them. But when they find they got them, they hide them, they eat them too. And then after that, then they turn on their children. They turn on each other. That's what you're facing, brothers and sisters. Do the math. If it's 30 million of them, 300 million of them, it's 10 million, and 30 million of us, and they got all of us. That's 10 per person. How long would it take them to eat 1 person? How long would them eat 1 cow? The cow got a lot more meat than we do. How long would it take 10 people to eat one cow? If they eat 3 meals a week, 3 meals a day. Even if they eat 1 meal a day, what, a week? A week? Give them 2 weeks. Then what's after? Then what after that? Give them 2 weeks. Say it took them 2 weeks to do it. You know it won't take anywhere near that. But them 2 weeks, then what? Now they have all the niggas. See? And now what? That's what's happening here, brothers and sisters. You gonna stay here like Farrakhan say? And we're getting out of here. Now demons, they can't go. They're not taking with us. They don't have that demon war. They be fighting for their lives. They don't have, only choice they have is they gotta take this country. They gotta take the country. That's what they're gonna try to do. It's only be 17 million of them, and women and children, because they ain't been living in apartments, they ain't have no gas, electricity. Everybody's about there fighting. But America being in so much trouble, right? They figure, hey, America's in a war in Europe. They got all kinds of problems every place else. They can't feed them. They ain't got no food any place. How they gonna feed their soldiers? So maybe we can take them. Because if they don't take them, they're gonna be eaten. Because that's what they're gonna send the armies after them. They capture them so they eat them for food. That's the only source of food is going to be is human flesh. That's what the scripture tells you. The only source of food that's going to be in this country in a few more days is human flesh. Human flesh. There's a note and I left it somewhere, so I guess oh, there it is. No, it ain't. Well, I'll talk about it all the time. Human flesh, that's all it's going to be. So you can take a lead, bro, and says, I'm just telling you. And what Farrakhan, what's his answer? Go into your secret chamber and pray. Pray. That's the answer. Go in your secret, lock doors and pray. And God will deliver it. Really? You believe that shit? You really believe it? And stock up on food. Really? You said around, everybody's starved, deaf, eating people, and you got food stored in your house, and you better not cook it. And you better not go outside. And you better know about you in a secret chamber. You better be locked down tight. Because remember, you're going to be on the menu. They found you there. Brothers and sisters. You're going to find out. And they're going to be revealed who they are. Expose all the world. It says they're going to pull up their dress and show their nakedness to all the world. They pretend it was just these God-fearing, God-loving people, right? All the evil they done. And they claim it done in the name of Jesus. So if that's the way Jesus rolls, then what the hell you got a problem with Satan for? They're sick people. And now they're being exposed for who they are. Because you know, a lion, after he's eaten, if you don't bother him, you can walk around, he ain't gonna bother you. You can walk him all you want if he's eaten. But once he wears off, you better not be within 100 miles of him. Same thing with these devils. See, they got constant food and stuff, so it's kind of like, you know, calm them down. They'll be hungry in a day. It says they're gonna eat your neighbor. That's why I said flee. Let me make the note. Should I make a note of this? I'm gonna lose my thought here, brothers and sisters. Oh, let me deal with it before I forget it again, brothers and sisters. You know, they told me this fentanyl from China and stuff, right? And they got the Negroes so in love with the Democratic Party, and they so Democratic Party, all of it is bad. And it's amazed me how people, I see the demons, but they pull a lot of you into it too. I say demons because that's their thing. Remember, they're devils. So they think like devils. And it bothers me because they got our face on. And so we get the hit for them being talked like we saw a few minutes ago. Right? And so the Democratic Party, right? They full of demons like Farrakhan is. That's why I say they listen to Farrakhan. Because it's demons that do it, and then they pull you in because that's how they get you, because you think, hey, man, black folks, you know, so you get pulled right on in. They ain't black. They might be black. They ain't original. So when black folks was addicted to drugs like crack and stuff like that there, jail time, jail time. And your president, you love so much Biden, he's the one that pushed the bill. Jail time, 3 strikes you out. Put you forever. Because you're low class, you're evil, you're taking drugs, that means something wrong with you. Like when Nancy Wilson, no, that's not Nancy Wilson, Nancy Reagan, just so you know. See, but now the cup is put in their hands, and says that scriptures, golden cup be put back in their hands. Oh no, now it's treatment. See, no, you don't put them in prison or treatment. You gotta give them treatment and give them help and give them guys getting counseling. That's why they paying all. So these Negro busters keep listening to stuff. They're gonna end up on the menu. That's how they're gonna learn their lesson, the hard way. It hurts me hard to even say this. It really does. Because I know some of you are gonna end up on that table, on all fours, with what do you call those things? One of those steel rods stuck up your ass, and apple in your mouth, ready to be served. Some of you are going to be in that situation because you ain't listening. You got to head up Kobe's ass. You got to head up LeBron James' ass. All that bullshit don't mean nothing. Families coming is flying here. Supersonic. It's on the way. It's going to come. It's deep at night. You wake up one morning, you might not, and there's no food. No food. If you got a little food, it's not going to last long. And if you got it, they know you got it. They'll come and get you and the food. No food. You can't manage that slack. What could America be like? There's no food. And you think if they got any food at all, they're going to share with you? You're going to be on the menu. That's why it's 3/5 human. They put in the Constitution there for a reason. They were looking far ahead because Jefferson said his heart trembles when he reflect. The God is just. That's what me. He was just about what? He was a slave and raping women and children, and killing them, the kind of stuff. So you know, they was going to pay. He knew there was going to be justice for that. Somebody had to stand for that. He said his heart trembled when he reflected that God is just. That means they're going to have to pay for that. He knows he knows how he's going to pay for it. So that's why he put you in this 3/5 human. So that time comes. Because if you're not human, you can be eaten. If you're 3/5 human, you're not human. A gorilla, I think, is like 1/2 human. Got half our genes. So they're saying we got 3/5 of human genes. It was animal we could be eaten. It's in the Constitution. You're not going to get rid of it. Like the demons tell you, oh man, the Constitution got. The same Constitution says you're 3/5 of a man. Sick. They defended it. We're going to stand, brothers and sisters. You're going to stand in a minute. I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to save you from a bad experience. A bad day. I'm trying to save you from a bad day, brothers and sisters. But these dummies like Farrakhan and Size and all these folks had nothing to talk about, and they have no solutions. They don't even talk about this. They talk about it all, very general. But so what's the solution? What do we do? Because they're coming for you to go to war for them. They come when they get betrayed in Europe. So they have to bow. They can bow all over the planet because everything they take is being taken back from them. And we haven't even talked about what's going to happen with Native Americans here. When they see America's foot slip, what they're going to be doing? This their land, ain't it? These doors going to be burned up. Because they got to be burned up because it's filthy. It's soaked with our blood. What are they going to do? They're going for some revenge too? It's quiet to feed them around. But the demons, 5 months. Famine, death, starvation, that's what you're facing. I've been waiting 30 years to get this message. I waited now to give it because that'd make most impact. I told you 10 years ago, oh man, you've been just talking, man, you know. Ain't gonna happen yet. That's 10 years in the future. Why am I worried about it? But no, it's at your doorstep, brothers and sisters. It's at your doorstep. Let's move on, then close out. So I wanted to get this in today. I'm going to stay on this subject, family, until we get here. Because that's that time, since we see it happening, those things happening, hold up your head. Because your redemption draws nigh, because we're going home. You can stay here with Farrakhan, his lying ass. Well, I don't think he got much ass anymore. He let his friends, satanic Jews, they blew his ass up. You know, God talks to him, and everything say come from God, and And he protected. That's the protection that God gave you? Got your ass blown up? Then tell him, stay with me. I don't need it. Right? Okay, here now, O leaders of Jacob, you rulers of the house of Israel. Now I'm not going to lie. Should you not know justice? That's a question, right? Don't you think you should receive justice for what you've done? Should you not receive justice for things you've done? Because America's paid for what it's done. It's off the charts. How much evil these people have done. Now, the leaders of Jacob and rulers of the house. We don't rule our own nation. They do. That's what they're talking. They're talking to us. Some of the people that's ruling us, leading us. Here you go. Now we know they make mischief, blood, no evil. They've done evil. They try to say we good people. We're not good about them. Well, see how pretty I look. See, well, that's my father did in the past. Okay, whatever. You hate good and love evil. That's them. They're round down the head. If you accept them, and you can't accept their devils because you love them. You love them. I'm not talking about you demons. I'm talking about you dogs out there. The dogs. See, the vipers, betrayers, betray your own people. You want to be with them. See, devils, demons, and dogs. You hate good, love evil. You tear the skin from my people and strip the flesh from their bones. You're not talking about the leaders of, talking about our captors. Read it carefully. Just say too. What's so holy about that? Oh, we got Jesus. Well, I don't want him. That's what he's all about. I'm going to say a few of these and I think we're going to close out, brothers and sisters. I don't think. See, you eat the flesh of my people after stripping off their skin and breaking their bones. Eat. Farrakhan, to stay here, right, and be eaten. You chop them up like flesh for a cookie pot, like meat in a cauldron. That's it right there. It's like a chef. You get some meat, bring a lamb in, cut it stoke. Because I remember my father mentioned, I'm from Newark, right? And it used to be like a live, I don't know, outside a shopping center, wherever, down, it's called Down Nick, right behind the train, bus station. Right? And it was mostly run by Jews. They had all the stuff during that time, right? And you go down there, he used to go down there, and hey, I want that chicken. They said chicken, cut the chicken head off. Chicken's alive, right? Feathers off and everything else come up, chop them up, take stuff out and everything. See it right there in front of your face. You know, I was about 7, 8 years old during that time. That's before mother passed away. That's what they do. They'll be doing to you. The ones they catch, that's what they're going to do it to. They're going to catch you. Money's not going to be worth anything. During that time, Oprah, Wes, Denzel, all the millions and billions you think you got, you're going to be throwing in the street 40 years out. You're worthless. You're not coming back. That's right. So, they do chop you up. And they're going, something has changed. I don't know what, but if something changed, money probably wouldn't exist during this time. It might. But if it had any worth at all, it may take that. Right? That's what I do. They have the ones they catch them, corral them, just like you corral horses and cows and stuff like that. And people come and say, I want this and I want that. And you're going to bid for them, whatever. And you're going to know exactly what they do it for. You send up in there, you know exactly what they do it. They buy you. They bring out slit your throat. And so I'm fixing you ready for dinner. There's a movie called Soylent Green. Go look it up. Charlton Heston. They was eating human flesh. They didn't want to tell the people that was doing it. Because you're gonna be the meal, brothers and sisters. Then they will cry out. See, because now they ate up everybody. Everybody getting hold of the can on. But I will not answer them. At that time, he will hate, you hide his face from them because of the evil they have done, be consumed uselessly, for your land will not yield its fruits, and trees of the land will not yield their fruit. That's America's brand. I say, America, they look, this like took everything from them, everything taken from them. Everything taken from them, they have nothing. When electricity, no gas, they have nothing. They all reserved, they're giving away right now. It's a dumbass move. See, but it says, somebody got a jaw in their hook in their jaw. And just stuff against themselves. Because they're going to wish the hell they held that. That's called strategic petroleum reserves. SPR. They're going to wish they hadn't done that in a minute. When they go to war and all that kind of stuff, they're going to need all that. And they're going to war. First in the Middle East. Power's broken. Break the pilot power. Mass problems are going to break the pilot power. It's about breaking their minds. Got a hook in their jaw. They're stumbling into Armageddon. So these stories found, like, if you have a house, you build a foundation. Those of you have any idea, foundation is you build your foundation. See, house stands on that. Now, something happened to that foundation, the whole house collapses. That's happening. The foundation of American society, ideology, and everything, false Israel. In fact, they traced the LGBT community, all that kind of stuff back to false Israel. That's what happened, brother and sister. And when he breaks that foundation, the whole house collapses. Because it's built on that. False Israel is you see Abraham, the top tribe, all other tribes aspiring to be like them. They want to tell you that's real because they got God, eye through God's eye. That's broken. Uh-oh. Now that's a lie. And they know that we the true. It's got problems, brothers and sisters. Famine's on the way. And I will make this city a desolation, an object of scorn, and all who pass by will be appalled and will scoff at her wounds. Talking about America. I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and daughters. They will eat one. Read this carefully now. Pay attention. I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and daughters, and they will eat one another's flesh in siege and distress inflicted on them by their enemies who seek their lives. Let me make this clear now. Once their power is broken, Middle East immediately go to war with fighting themselves in Europe. Okay? America's betrayed. Everybody's against them. They're losing, right? All the countries Taiwan's been taken back through this time. Africa's been coming together and broken up into 2 parts because they're like 100 parts now. I mean, how many countries do you have there? Asia comes together. Everybody takes back. And Suleiman takes Lazarus back from you. Said, will the prey be taken? Will the prey be taken from the mighty? See, my people have been the prey. You've been the mighty. Suleiman gonna take them away from you. Everybody's coming back. Everything you took has been taken back away from you. Everything. It's coming quicker and quicker and quicker. You have no good luck in anything. Everybody, look, you got now Saudi Arabia, they're going to be with you in this battle, but they're against you. Everybody's against you because all your love is turning against you. You're in trouble. The reason false Saudi Arabia, false, House of Assad, they're trying to protect their interests against Iran. But they don't want to be with you either. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Everything's been taken from everything. It's been taken from you. Take your peace away. Say, we'll take peace away from the earth. They'll start slaughtering each other. everything and everything possible thing will happen. That's why it says men will go insane from just looking at what they see is happening around them. Read it up, Google it. I don't make things up, brothers and sisters. We had those John come late, right at the last minute. They ain't fooling anybody. Because they're going to be asking, wait, why are you just doing that? If you know about this before, how come you were saying something? You couldn't say some people lied. And the people, they're going to hate you. They say, well, man, I lost my children. They goes, you was blocking the truth? It's hiding the truth? Okay, is there anything else here? Okay, this last piece here. This is what I want to say. Let's look at Bob. Those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of famine, racked with hunger. They waste away for lack of food from the field. That gets back to the distribution thing, because it's telling you, right? Right, that for most part, I'm not saying decisively, because I don't know precisely. Remember, it says, for lack of food from the field. That means the fact that there's no field, there's no food in the farms to refill what's in the warehouses. That's what he's telling you. That's what I've been trying to tell you. Because I said, you're in that mode right now. A lot of food you eat right now is coming from the warehouses, right? That's not been replenished by the farms. Now, I tell you right now, it's not lack of food from the field. That's what it's talking about, not from the warehouses. See, so it says those killed by those killed by sword are better than those who die of famine, racked with hunger. They waste away for lack of food from the field. That means everything's gone, and they know it ain't no food coming because there's no food in the field. That means all that's left is in the warehouses. And those warehouses not gonna last long, because once the famine breaks, if you know where the warehouse goes, they're gonna break into it. So when they find out there ain't gonna be no food in the stores, and the warehouses ain't gonna be able to bring whatever food they have at that point, because everybody knows they're gonna go and break into the warehouse, take the food. So that's what we're talking about. And waste away for lack of food from the field. That means they know it's really bad, because if there was food in the fields, that means you somehow get it to you. But the only food there is in the warehouse, they probably empty them out. Because the field is the far start of your, I don't know if I'm going to make this clear enough. The field is the start of your supply chain. If there's nothing there, that means the only thing you're going to be eating is what's in the warehouses. Once that's gone, you just sit. With their own hands, compassionate women have cooked their own children. See, like their own children, after they find out there's no food at all. And it's going to make it clear in a minute. Who became their food when my people were destroyed. So they became their food when my people were destroyed. After we were destroyed, then they became their food. They ate us first, and then they ate their own children. It's all part and part, because it's also a famine, but they know the famine's going to last a while, because that's what it says right there. They know there's nothing in the field. So if nothing in the field, no matter what, the goose is cooked, if you say it like that, because if nothing in the field, how long is the growing season? It takes a while. It takes a while to plant and grow food. So they're going to wait 6 months or whatever for the food to grow and get back in the warehouses. You're going to fast that way? See, that's how bad it is. Because they know there's no food in the fields. That means it's really bad. So if they was to go out and plant something, how long would it take for it to get? So remember, the warehouse all gone. So you're gonna wait 6 months. You're gonna fast 6 months to potatoes grow, or whatever. That's why I'm emphasizing that. I think that's it, brothers and sisters. We'll see. We'll see. Trying to tell you, brothers and sisters. My people said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So the man said, when you're ready, your people be ready. And I said, but remember I said gears? See? Ready around time, that's probably ready around time. The harvest all be done around time, and it's gonna be soon. Because we see all other things, other signs. World War III. We're gonna stand, brothers and sisters. But it's not gonna be a nuclear war. Because the mass formation is not gonna let them corrupt the planet. Now, does that happen? Now we have them corrupt our promised land. Otherwise, what we want it. America could be nuked. That's about it. We're gonna stand, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna leave it there. Assalamu alaikum.